Hey, what is going on, guys? My name is TamezTech, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be checking out the last day of the Willpower Cup. In the last few days, I haven't really been enjoying these two metas very much. You know, the Mega Master League and the Willpower Cup have been a little bit too polarizing for me, but I was able to make a concoction of Pokemon that would have unfortunately quite a decent run. As you can already tell by the video or the thumbnail, we are running Hatterene lead today. It is a Charmer. It is a little bit toxic, but with the Charm rework, we actually get a lot of play with our energy. And we put Shadow Sableye on the safe swap and regular Claydol in the back. If I could make one change to this team, it would be to run regular Sableye instead of Shadow. It just has a little bit more bulk, or if you have, honestly, I think it has to be like one of the top 10 ranks of Shadow Sableye. You can actually get to 2 foul plays against Claydol without shielding. So if you have literally like one of the top ranks, like 0-15-15 Sableye or something like that, like a Shadow Sableye, then maybe just opt to using the regular Sableye. But yeah, let's get into these battles real quick and check these out. So we got a new background here, but yeah, so great lead in the first game. Of course, we are leading into Poliwrath, and suspiciously, my opponent is staying in. I'm telling you, man, like, there are so many teams double weak or even triple weak to Charm, and it just makes this so easy. I was going to pivot into Sableye, and they bring in a Mandibus, and I'm like, okay, well, this is weird. And lo and behold, we still swap out, sorry, and there is a Dragon Dark type in the back. So yeah, triple weak to Hatterene on the very first game. That's absolutely crazy. So yeah, we're just gonna come in here, kind of like overwhelm this Swilus. They mistakenly like not throw energy over and over and over. We're able to snipe them down with Hatterene, and we actually survived this move. So we're not enticed to shield or anything. We do have a lot of energy here. Unfortunately, we can only throw a Power Whip and a Scythe Shock, so that's not going to do a lot of damage, but we can just safely go for the Rock Tomb at this point. As you can see, I had a Power Gem on my Sableye in the first few games. I kept forgetting to TM it off. Dazzling Gleam is definitely the play to make in this meta. So if you are going to run this team, just make sure you're running Dazzling Gleam instead of Power Gem. But yeah, on to the next game, Drapion lead. This one's definitely one of the more complicated leads you can get. But as you can see, this is one of the plays you can make with the Shadow Sableye that you can't make with the non-Shadow Sableye. So we tank a Rage Fist. They no shield a Foul Play Babe, but at this point, I can one shield farm this thing all the way down. And non-Shadow Sableye, you can't farm them down. You have to shield another Rage Fist if you want switch. So that's a little bit of an interesting fact there. They bring back in the Mandy. We land a Power Gem, and I mean, that's half of their HP gone. There is a Drapion in the back, and we have our Claydol for it. We switch a little early there, but my opponent mistakenly banks their energy, or I guess maybe they weren't going to get to a move anyways. I'm not sure. This Drapion is running Fell Stinger though, which is it's definitely an interesting pick. I don't know if you really run Fell Stinger on the non-Shadow Drapion. It just feels really risky and not very worth it. But we're able to farm down this Drapion, and I guess the Mandibus didn't have a move yet, so they resigned that match. On to the next game, we see more Petco in the lead, and once again, man, I mean, these teams, they bring in Bullet Punch Lucario, and I mistakenly bring in my Sableye here, but I know that I can survive any move here and just full send this Foul Play for some reason. I guess I only get to one move, but it'll still knock out. So I'm able to extract a shield advantage from that matchup, and we can Mud Slap down the Claydol. If they want to bring more Petco in, then be my guest, but yeah, that's a GG to my opponent there. All right, on to the next game. We see Claydol lead. This lead is a little bit complicated. I like to do a Charm and swap out because I can still cap tie to the Foul Play. It's definitely a risky play because if they don't cap tie, then they either sneak a Mud Slap or they catch a Foul Play and something that can be incredibly resisted. My opponent mistakenly actually shields Foul Play, and swaps out. If you land the Rock Tomb again on Shadow Sableye, especially one like mine, as you can see by my IVs, it's really attack weighted. You can definitely get the farm down there. They bring in Hatterene, we shield the Dazzling Gleam, and they bring in the Claydol right away, so I just instantly throw the Ice Beam, expecting them to think it's a Rock Tomb, and it's not. They bring in Rapidash, and them throwing on alignment right here basically gives me just free reign of the game. I can just degen, you know, tap my screen and win the game here. So yeah, GG's to my opponent there, but that alignment throw definitely didn't aid their chances. I think it would have been fine regardless, but still. On to the next game here, Mandibus lead, man. I'm telling you, like, people are just not respecting Charm anymore in this meta, and I am all for it. Alright, we see Drapion on the swap. We successfully shield a Crunch, which means that we should be able to farm this thing all the way down, but I'm just a little bit scared of losing swap against Mandy there, so I'm gonna no shield this because it is just an Aqua Tail, and now that it's debuffed, we can survive. They bring back in the Mandibus, and I should have thrown 1 or 2 Mud Slaps before debuffing them because now they're going to get a lot more energy here. I was hoping they'd only get 2 Air Slashes, but they get 3. But in the back it's a Claydol, and we have our Sableye, so unfortunately for my opponent, that's going to be like a pretty RPS game for them. But regardless, I think at this point I can just overfarm severely with my Sableye. And just land a Dazzling Gleam onto the Mandy if I need to, right? Mandy is just so slow. We can bank a little bit of energy on Sableye. They have to throw practically all of their energy if they want to knock us out before Power Whip is reached. And yeah, unfortunately, they can't get there in time. We actually cap tie there, so GG's to my opponent. On to the next one here. We got Primeape in the lead. I love this. All right, well, what are they going to swap out into? They swap out into Drapion, and you know, I love seeing Primeape lead because we kind of have play into it with our entire team. Sableye is probably one of our worst matchups, or maybe Claydol, I'm not sure. But I mean, we still have a lot of fast move pressure into that Pokemon, and at this point I'm thinking, well, I don't really need switch advantage, right? I could just bring in whatever Pokemon here, get an energy lead. Yeah, we're gonna bring in Sableye. They bring in more Pekko, and I'm like, okay, dude, I mean, I'm just gonna full send this Dazzling Gleam, wait for you to knock me out. Realistically, I should have swapped out right away there, but I wanted to get a little bit more fast move pressure with the Shadow Claws, just so I didn't have to shield everything. I get a little bit ballsy here, I believe. Yeah, we call it Psychic Fangs for no reason. But I guess I was just a little scared of that Primeape getting to 2 moves. I didn't realize, though, that I still had plenty of energy, so I could have just, you know, sent the Psyshock against the Primeape. So, yeah, we actually win with 2 shields still remaining. My opponent, I think they closed out of the app there, but yeah, GG's. On to the next game here, we see Greninja lead. This is a really good lead for us. Unfortunately, Greninja has a lot of play into this team, so if they can get a farm down against us, this can be really, really complicated. This is just a body slam, so I am able to fully Shadow Claw down. This is another matchup that gets really interesting between the Shadow and non-Shadow Sableye. So they bring back in the Ninja. They can double shield and farm us all the way down, and this is what I mean, man. This farm down that I'm giving over is so complicated. I have to shield here. I have to land that charm because this Greninja is just like out of control. And they have Metang in the back, and unfortunately I just don't see a way for us to win this game other than maybe a catch. But I mean, this Metang is gonna get to a Dryer Ball against our Claydol, and that yeah, we do the Peekaboo play, but unfortunately that Greninja is still gonna be able to outpace us to 2 moves here pretty severely. I think my biggest misplay here was waiting down my clock all the way. Maybe I could have farmed down the Claydol, I mean the Metang, a little bit easier there, but regardless, yeah, unfortunately that's our loss there. We went really decent with this team. We went like 23-7, but yeah. Okay, here's one of my targets. Murkrow in the lead. We see Claydol swap, and I mean, this is just looking really up for us. In this case, I will shield my Sableye. I need to keep switch advantage because I cannot have that Murkrow onto my Claydol unless both shields are down. If both shields are down, I am completely fine letting go of switch here and just farming down with my Claydol. But they aren't. We are able to get to this Dazzling Gleam. I don't know if my opponent has been counting, and they have not. They just get one shot there. We have a Hatterene for the Mandy, and unfortunately that's a GG for my opponent. It looks like they really want to play this out. Maybe they just want to see what's in the back, right? But I mean, I feel like at this point it could be, I don't know, it could be anything in the back and we're just gonna win. But yeah, my opponent is really playing this out. They really want to knock us out. We're just gonna be able to mud slap them all the way down here, and that's gonna be a GG. On to the next battle here. We got Pawniard in the lead. A little bit tricky. I always like to do 3 and swap into my Sableye. Here I did 4 because it was the first matchup I had against this thing, and I surprisingly caught a Night Slash. My opponent for some reason swaps out right there because honestly they could have just Night Slashed again and knocked me all the way out. They bring in Moltres. I full send the Gleam and they no shield, and I'm like, okay dude, I mean that is a Claydol counter just completely gone. I don't know why I shield the first one here. I guess I'm just a little bit scared that it can be something with fast move pressure in the back and that my Hatterene can't really take. But it's just a Rapidash. So I'm going to debuff first, snipe with the Psyshock on my Hatterene. And even though this is resisted, it just does enough damage that I think I can kind of just throw away my Hatterene here. If they knock me out, they knock me out. If they don't, then we just charm everything down. We land a charm against Pawniard, and that pretty much seals the deal. So GG's to my opponent, but yeah, very interesting playstyle with a Charmer, dude. I've never really played a Charmer very well, so knowing when to farm down and when to not is really interesting. My opponent here brings in Sableye, and I don't really have a direct counter to this thing, so I'm just going to stay in and farm them all the way down, see what they want to bring. Alright, they bring in their own Hatterene, so I'm like, okay, well, I'll do you one better. I'll bring in my own Sableye into your Hatterene. And let's see what we can do here. We force a shield out of them with our Sableye. They force a shield out of us with their Sableye. We bring in Claydol, and they throw pretty much instantly. So I figure, oh, this might just be a Psyshock. And it is. At this point, I just have to full send the Ice Beam against this Primeape. Rock Tombing here is kind of a misplay, right? They only have one shield. I have a Psyshock bank. If they shield this, then we just combo with Hatterene, send the Psyshock, and it should be game over at this point. We can just charm down the Hatterene, and that's a GG. Very cookie cutter games in this meta, dude. I can't say I love it. All right, Pawniard lead once again. Let's see. Do we do our 3 charms? It looks like we do. All right, and this opponent throws right away. They actually throw on alignment, so I could have gotten an entire an entire charm for free. They bring in Hatterene trying for the farm down, but they don't get it. We were able to get a foul play in there. I'm just gonna bring in my own Hatterene, full send the Psyshock, and see if my opponent wants to shield or not. It looks like they do. I think I'm just gonna play 2 shield Claydol here. It's definitely not ideal, but we do get 3 Mud Slap head start. They have a Sableye in the back. This is a little bit scary. We're able to throw on good timing, debuff their Shadow Claws. They smartly swap out instantly, but them throwing on alignment right here, I think bails me out of this loss. I mistakenly throw the Rock Tomb here. I didn't really know which one did more damage or if the debuff was a little bit more efficient, but we did a little bit of research on stream, and we realized that Ice Beam is just a better move to throw there. Regardless of the debuff, if you're only going to get to one move, Ice Beam would have actually KO'd. Alright, we see Pawniard in the lead. I'm staying to do my 3 charms, and Pawniard swaps out into a Claydol, so I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to bring in my Sableye here. I mean, this is a perfect matchup for me, especially on even energy. So I'm just going to let this go. We threw on pretty decent timing, but unfortunately, we just don't survive that last Mud Slap. It is a Pawniard in the back, though, so I'm totally chill bringing in my Claydol here. I figure they're just probably going to Rock Tomb me, so that's totally fine. We can farm them all the way down. See what comes in. Mandibus comes in. Oh, it's actually a Murkrow. Okay, so we're just gonna obviously pivot into our Hatterene, right? No, we actually call our opponent's play. They think we're about to instantly pivot into Hatterene, so they pivot themselves, and we just stay in and we win the game on the spot. So pretty interesting play there. Once again, man, like I said, very RPS matches. Primate bleed, swap into Claydol, we have Sableye. That's a GG. Sorry about that. Okay, we got Mandibus lead. We saw like 20 Mandibus leads the other day. So yeah, this is pretty basic. I believe this is the right play though, because you can get to 2 moves as Mandibus. They bring in Drapion, so I'm gonna throw this Power Whip. It might seem a little bit silly, but if I throw this Power Whip, I actually put them into range where I can Mud Slap them down before they get to 2 moves. I shield the Crunch because they're only gonna get to 1 since they shielded the Power Whip. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably could have Psyshocked. I forgot that Drapion single resists Psychic, not double resists. But we're able to send the Rock Tomb here and then full send the Ice Beam. My opponent smartly shields that. But now that they're debuffed, I can survive this Rock Tomb a lot more comfortably. So let's see what they want to do. Okay, they swap into the Mandy. We're able to cap tie them on the Dazzling Gleam. So Sableye is kind of running away with this game. We're able to outpace the Claydol as well. Oh man, this Shadow Sableye, man, I think the non-shadow is the play, but when a Shadow Gleam hits a Mandy, it's just absolutely crazy, dude. On to the next lead, and what did I tell you? We keep seeing Mandibus in the lead. It's a little bit crazy. I do like to overfarm almost to the max here, almost to back-to-back Power Whips, but my opponent actually swaps into a Claydol, which is not an answer to a Hatterene up energy. We full send the Power Whip, they shield. I try to play to the cap tie and they overfarm, but then my opponent no shields. I don't understand what the play is here. I'm able to cap tie them again with the Dazzling Gleam. So we knock this thing all the way out and they have a Primate in the back. They just have absolutely no play left, unfortunately. So I guess they were just trying to call a bait over and over and over, but yeah, it wasn't working out for them. Pawniard lead in the next match. Once again, we do our 3 charms and pivot out. I actually hate when they stay because it makes it a lot more complicated. And lo and behold, this one doesn't stay. They swap into the Murkrow, which is really bad for us because they just get the perfect farm down now. And we don't even get a shield out of that. But for some reason, my opponent maybe thinks they survived 2 charms and they don't throw their energy. And I mean, I think that's just a game over. We pivot into our Claydol onto this Pawniard. We're able to make a lot of damage into them, but I'm super low here, right? So I'm a little bit nervous. My opponent's win con is to go for a full farm down, but if they throw moves, I'm able to get more charms in for each Shadow Claw that they get into me, right? So my opponent mistakenly is going for all of their charge moves here, which they don't need. They swap in Pawniard to get to another move and they don't get there, and we're able to escape with that win, just committing to the fast move against them. First time saving 2 shields for Hatterene ever did anything, right? Alright, Hatterene into the Mandibus in the next match. This opponent actually instantly pivots into Drapion. We pivot into our Claydol. I'm a little bit scared of a Crunch. I don't know why I shield the first. It's a little bit stupid, honestly. I guess I wasn't really counting very well. But we are able to debuff them. This Aqua Tail shouldn't knock us out, but it is a Crunch, so we do get knocked out. I think getting energy on Sableye is best, but I have a little bit of a read. They might be double weak. Yeah, because they instantly pivot from Mandy, and honestly, this isn't a terrible matchup. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe if I just get an energy lead with my Hatterene, I'll be in a better spot. Lo and behold, they shield the Power Whip for some reason. They have an Ape in the back. We could just Gleam this thing out of existence. Get out of here, Ape. We'll outpace to the Dazzling Gleam before they get to their second move here, and we still have a shield. So I mean, it's super game over here. But yeah, dude, Hatterene just imposing the fear of God into these trainers. Unfortunate for them. On to the next battle here, and you can see we've consistently been climbing. This team actually gained me like 260 elo in one day. It's absolutely ridiculous. We see a King Gambit swap, which is definitely pretty interesting. And since this King Gambit doesn't really have a lot of fast move pressure as Pawniard does, I'm not really threatened to, you know, throw energy here. I can actually just one shield from them all the way down. They bring in the Ape, and I figure, I mean, if I can land damage into this thing, that's totally fine by me. I'm just going to swap in Hatterene. I'm gonna shield this Rage Fist because this would knock out, and I feel like everyone's super weak to Charm. Lo and behold, there's a freaking low kicks back here. So thank God we shielded that, because low kicks I think would have rocked our world pretty bad here. We're able to Shadow Claw down and just knock out that low kicks, but all right, okay, we're playing against Memi. This is a very, very talented battler here. I'm extremely nervous this match. They're running Shadow Claydol lead. They bring in Pawniard into my Sableye safe swap. So we're just going to full send the Gleam and see what we can do here. We force a shield, but man, this Pawniard, dude, this Pawniard is just absolutely terrifying for my team. I can bring in my Claydol here, but Jesus, Memi is just so good at this game. I don't know how I can have a chance to win this, unfortunately. I do have to shield here if I want to farm this all the way down. They actually bring in Murkrow here, which honestly I think it's a little bit of a misplay, because I can force this shield, swap in my Hatterene, farm them all the way down, and at this point the game is down to a catch, right? If they catch out with their Claydol, they win the game. So I just have to be really, really patient, and you're gonna see just how patient I am. I have the Power Whip. I'm not throwing it. I'm not throwing it. I throw 2 charms over the Power Whip, and we just call Memi's catch, because we know they have to catch, right? And we win that game. They actually had over a Rock Tomb there, and we just call it. All right, Annihilate lead in the next match. Swap into Drapion. We have the perfect answer for this Pokemon. We have Claydol. Ice Fang Drapion is a little bit tricky, but this is totally fine. I don't really need switch advantage against an Annihilate, and I think my opponent realizes that. They don't want to go down shields, because they're like, okay, well, I think I'd rather get this Annihilate farm here. Maybe I can get to 2 Rage Fists against this Hatterene. And I believe they will get to 2 Rage Fists. So really decent play by my opponent here. Oh, unfortunately, I guess they don't get there. That was definitely their win con, though. If they could force both of my shields out, maybe they could have some play there. Lucario leading the next match. I'm looking to see if they're on Bullet Punch. They swap out, so they're probably on Force Palm. I just full send my Foul Play right away with the Sableye. I really don't need switch advantage against a Force Palm Lucario. We have a Claydol in the back. It's Lucario's both worst nightmares. So, yeah, I think we're just going to bring in Claydol here. Probably tank 1, shield 1, farm them all the way down, and let's just see what this Lucario wants to do. They actually bring in Sableye, and this does get a little bit tricky, right? They have a lot of fast move pressure into us, but so do we. So we can farm the Sableye all the way down. I think they do get both of my shields here, but we know Lucario's never gonna force palm down. I mistakenly throw my Psyshock here. I thought I was out of shields for some reason. Like, I thought I was down 2 shields, but my opponent brings in Claydol, which is definitely a misplay. They just give us the energy we need to deal with this Lucario. We're able to just charm them all the way down, and we take that game. But yeah, it would have been a little bit cleaner if I actually just 2 shield farm that Sableye all the way down and just have the energy ready. All right, against the MIP, another extremely talented battler. Unfortunately, Incineroar is a very tricky Pokemon for this team. As you can see, we don't really have a lot of play into it. I think my best course of action would have been to instantly swap out into Sableye, and unfortunately, I did not do that. So now that they have Force of Shield and they have a bunch of energy on that Incineroar, I bring in my Claydol, and they have a Sableye, and I mean, it's just not going very well for us. We're able to debuff the Sableye. 1 charm should do it. We knock this thing out. Mandibus comes in, and I mean, I need to have a bait. I need to bait them. I need to land the Gleam, and I need to have another move for the Incineroar ready. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bait them here, get to the Dazzling Gleam. I'm expecting them to combo play me here, so I'm just hoping that they 1-turn lag and I can snipe them down with the Foul Play. But unfortunately, 1-turn lag is kind of a thing of the past now, so GG's to Man of the Planet there. Definitely core broke me with that Incineroar. But yeah, pretty fun game there. On to the next battle, we got Drapion lead. This is a Shadow Drapion, so it's a little bit more imposing. I do kind of have to shield a move here. From the non-Shadow, I'm not really threatened. They actually have Fell Stinger, which is so stupid. I hate getting baited with Fell Stinger. It's so dumb. But they do successfully bait there. We're able to get to a Foul Play here, so we kind of get them low on health. So this is like the best core scenario after shielding a Fell Stinger, right? We're able to actually land some damage and force a shield. They bring in Poliwrath, and at this point I'm thinking, okay, this might be the Drapion double fighter line I've been seeing. So I'm just gonna shield here. I know that Drapion is pretty low, so if they bring it in, I can just charm it all the way down. And we do. We have double Psyshock, and it is Annihilate in the back. So we're gonna throw on good timing just to make sure we knock out, because we are debuffed. But yeah, we throw one charm in the move, one charm in the move, and this should knock out the Annihilate. And that's a GG to my opponent there. On to the final battle of the day. We got Hatterene into Murkrow. Shadow Murkrow in the lead. I wish I had one of these. They bring in Drapion, and like clockwork, we bring in our Claydol. This Drapion is actually on Poison Sting, and I mistakenly shield the first. I'm just like so used to the Ice Fang matchup. I throw my energy, which is also a mistake, but my opponent makes the game losing play. They shield the Rock Tomb there. I think they should have just called it. They get 2 debuffs with the Crunch, which is absolutely crazy, but they should have just called it there, take their advantage, land a Crunch, and get a shield from a Claydol. But I force a shield for Murkrow. I swap in my Hatterene, and I mean, shields down. This sad little Claydol is not going to be able to resist this Power Whip, and we just charm down the Murkrow all the way. We don't even show our Sableye, and that's a good game to my opponent there. Here is our ending elo. We were actually at 2180, I believe, yesterday, and we climbed all the way to 2453. So yeah, definitely a very, very powerful team for this Willpower Cup. This is the last day of Willpower, so if you are interested in running this team, make sure you run it right away. Everyone is being really, really weak to Charm, so if you want to climb a few more elo right before the league change, make sure you run a Charmer in the lead or in the back, or honestly anywhere in your team. You'll probably have a pretty decent time against that thing. Yeah, once again, guys, check out all of my socials up there. We got Instagram. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter, TikTok. I stream on Twitch every single day, so if you want to see these battles live before I make a video on them, make sure you check that out. There is a Linktree link at the bottom in the description, so make sure you check those out for all of my other socials, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.